So far, we've shown our willingness from our side to engage with the government and other political parties for having a larger conversation, which we think Pakistan needs. For example, how to bring credibility back to the electoral process in Pakistan, the appointment of chief election commissioner, um, uh, the democratic and space that has been ceded, how to reclaim that. So we've shown willingness to engage in larger conversation, and so far we are, our willingness is out there on the table, and the ball is in the government's court. And let's see in coming days what their response is. Their coalition partners, for example, Pakistan People's Party. Um, just a couple of days ago, chairman of the party, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, in his address, he also was of the view that political parties should sit down together to bring the country out of political crisis. So there is the need is felt across the political spectrum in Pakistan. Let's see when it materializes. If the government had wasn't serious, then Prime Minister wouldn't have made this offer in the first place. The country is going through a crisis. Ordinary Pakistanis are paying the price for it. In terms of the economy is not working. Half of Pakistan, literally, according to the World Bank, has gone below the poverty line. We've got the highest unemployment figures in the region. So I think there is willingness from the government side to engage with the opposition so that we put an end to this crisis. And Speaker National Assembly in the past, yes, he has hosted a dialogue. It can be a venue. If the government wants that we should sit in the Speaker's office and use his office as a meeting point, then government should officially communicate that to us. The ball is in government's court. I'm sure they're mulling over how to proceed further. And if they indeed do wish to proceed, uh, we are willing to engage, be it the Speaker's office, be it formation of committees from both sides. Politicians need to sit down, they need to talk, they need to find ways, and we are ready for that. We haven't attached any conditions to the dialogue. If we wanted to, we could have. Imran Khan is one of the most popular leaders in Pakistan. He's been in incarceration for the last over 2 years, along with his wife. His party has been at the receiving end of government's victimization spree. So we could have made that part of, or at least a condition for talks, but we didn't. We want this conversation to be about how to restore the confidence of Pakistani people in the election process, 2018 elections or 2024. Both of these elections were controversial. 2024 was even more controversial than 2018 elections. And if we really want to restore the Pakistani public's confidence in the election process, then we would have to sit down and we would have to uh, talk about things. We would have to talk about the appointment of the new election commissioner for the process and create safeguards that the decision by Pakistani people is not violated again. So I think that is the most important part of the conversation. And then, of course, 26th and 27th constitutional amendment, according to us, and majority view of the legal fraternity, independence of judiciary has been taken away. So that we would like to see that bit become part of the conversation. Apart from that, the parliament has lost its sovereignty. Uh, I think it was in 2015 or 2016 that Pakistan, according to the democracy index, transitioned into a hybrid regime from a struggling democracy, and now it's firmly placed in an authoritarian regime category. So, Parliament has lost its space. The election process has become controversial. All of these things, they have to be talked about, and we have to uh, claw back that space that civilians have lost over the last decade or so, and continue to do so. JI, for example, Jamaat Islami, was part of the national conference that we held in Islamabad a couple of weeks ago. It was part of the conversations that we held there. They're pretty clear on their stance on where democracy stands in Pakistan, and they're pretty much in agreement with us as far as the broader national conversation is concerned. JUI, on the other hand, you might have seen Maulana Fazlur Rahman's statement a couple of days ago, in which he also and his party asked for fresh elections in Pakistan. He because of we'd like to see Maulana Fazlur Rahman become part of this also. When that happens, we are engaged in conversation with him, and hopefully we will bring him around. Uh, but generally, as far as the pressure is concerned, the pressure is from the Pakistani public. People in Pakistan, the economy is not working for them. Unemployment, poverty ratio, all of these figures, a government which has a legitimacy crisis to begin with, and a government that cannot deliver on an economic front, will have that pressure to sit down with the opposition and find ways to reduce the political crisis, because political crisis ultimately is connected with the economic crisis too. The government hasn't been able to bring any large investments in Pakistan. Uh, General Sarfaraz, the gentleman who heads the SIFC, for example, uh, he criticized the government on the economic front, on its economic policies. So that is the pressure, primary pressure that the government faces. And we are of the view that in order to fix the economy, you have to fix the politics first. And we're ready to engage in dialogue with an open heart, without attaching any preconditions uh, to the dialogue process. And if the government is really interested in resolving this crisis, then it would have to sit down with the opposition, and together as politicians, we would have to find a way forward for the Pakistani public. On a lighter side, one of the PMLN people I was just chatting with at a dinner, uh, I asked him about Prime Minister's statement, and whether Prime Minister's statement is well intentioned, and how's the reaction been. And the gentleman from PMLN, he said, well, Prime Minister is very careful in his choice of words, and obviously, if he has said this to the opposition, is if he has offered this olive branch, he would have taken the establishment confidence before saying what he said. So let's see how things progress, and ultimately, you see, even from establishment's point of view, uh, Pakistan has this confrontation. We had a 4 or 5 day war with India, uh, relationship with Afghanistan. It's not working out, and it makes sense for them uh, to close the internal political front. Uh, the international front, the front with India, with Afghanistan, uh, and having an internal political front open doesn't make sense. It would drain them. It would drain anybody with their constant engagement on three fronts. So I think it would make an absolute sense from their point of view also if the political temperatures within the country are lowered. If politicians come around and create that environment in which there are less exploitable fault lines within Pakistan. Fawad has been a dear friend for the longest of times. I generally wouldn't like to comment on what he said about us. Uh, but he's also formed this National Dialogue Committee, and he is for talks. Uh, and as we all know, PTI being the biggest stakeholder in this alliance, TTAP, uh, PTI. These gentlemen have left PTI. They've parted ways from PTI, and I'm not too sure if PTI would ever own up to uh, the path that these gentlemen have taken, and that's all that I can say about them. People's Party of today is much different from People's Party of yesterday, of Benazir Bhutto's times. Um, Charter of Democracy was Shahid Benazir Bhutto's one of the greatest contributions to Pakistan's democracy. Uh, and it was done at a time when there was a dictator running this country. And that document itself, for the longest of years since it was signed, has been part of the mainstream conversation and a reference point for all political parties in the Pakistani conversation and context. Ideally, Pakistan People's Party, keeping that historical legacy of Shahid Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto in mind, uh, it should be part of this conversation. It should rather steer this conversation. Uh, it's kind of sad that all politicians, and especially the ones in the government, look over their shoulders towards the establishment for their approval to engage in this conversation. It shouldn't have come to this, especially for those political parties who have, for example, PMLN, who vote ko izzat do was a rallying cry for their for the 2018 elections and before that when Nawaz Sharif was chucked out of office. Uh, so it's sad that these political parties who've held high moral ground against Imran Khan and in Pakistani politics, that they are the torchbearers of democracy, that they have to make references to elders and to establishment. My point of view and TTAP's point of view is that politicians have to come together. Ultimately, it's our responsibility to not only rescue the parliament, but also democracy. If we politicians can manage to sit down, I'm sure that we can find ways to reclaim our space, the parliament space, and it is a conversation for Pakistan. It is a conversation to bring Pakistan out of chaos, out of crisis. Why would anybody have objections to it? And why should we look behind our shoulders to even engage in this conversation? So that's my take on the elders' part in uh, uh, setting the politicians on a reconciliatory path. Well, frankly, uh, there are only two ways that this 27th constitutional amendment can be reversed. If the judiciary had stood up, if the judiciary had struck it down, Supreme Court, if it had formed a constitutional, if it had formed a full court to see whether the parliament was even competent enough, constitutionally speaking, to take away powers of judiciary. Uh, and if the legal fraternity, the bars across the country, if they're taken to streets, uh, that was a path through which a reversal could have happened, but it didn't. And now the only path, I think, through which the reversal of 27th and 26th constitutional amendment can be done is that if a political party that believes in the reversal is elected to the parliament through free and fair elections and then eventually resigns them. So, as I said earlier, and we hold this view that it is only through free and fair elections that the possibility of the reversal of all those controversial laws that has taken place in the last couple of years is possible. And Therefore, that's what we are aiming for right now. We're waiting to hear from the government side. The ball is in their court. Now they have to inform us how to proceed further, and how to. I mean, if they want, we can form. Both sides can form committees to engage and discuss the agenda, and when they can formalize, after having formalized the agenda, then other political parties from the treasury benches and from the opposition can also be made part of that conversation. So let's see how the government responds in coming days. Let's see. Not at all. Peaceful protest is our constitutional right. And 8th of February was the day when the mandate from Pakistani public was stolen in broad daylight. So 8th of February, protesting on 8th of February is our constitutional right. And we can ensure, and we assure the government and the Pakistani public that those protests will be peaceful, and they won't turn violent. But it's our right, and we will proceed with that. We absolutely have no confusion about it in our ranks. That's an interesting question. I, for example, in the past have condemned the violence that took place on 9th of May. But what we saw after 9th of May, we didn't see prosecution. We rather saw persecution. We saw scores of people who weren't involved in 9th of May incidents uh, to settle political scores and to victimize them. They were included in the cases. Then, on the basis of flimsy evidence, we saw scores of people being convicted. Uh, People from PTI who took to screens and held press conferences condemning 9th of May violence and parting ways from PTI were given a clean jet. So, in the aftermath of the 9th of May violence that did take place, we saw that that violence taking place on TV screens across the country. The way it was handled was very controversial. I wish it wasn't handled that way, and people who were actually part of it were brought to justice, but that didn't happen. So therefore, whenever 9th of May uh, comes up in any conversation, we will point out that 9th of May was turned into a witch hunt. And that witch hunt did create that environment in Pakistan where people questioned the whole process and continue to do so. That's how I see 9th of May conversation taking place between the treasury benches and the opposition.